Hi everyone. In Anthropology lecture series for paper 1, today we are going to discuss topic 9.6 part 2. So let's begin. See, as you know that we already covered 9.6, but that video was incomplete because of some issues with the video and the audio quality. And in that video, if you just go and check for this video, it is completed till ABO blood group. We also started with the RH blood group, but that was not completed. Okay, so which is why what I'm trying to do is to cover this 9.6 in parts, because in this topic you have various smaller concepts that you need to understand. So which is why I thought let's cover it in small parts. So in this part we are going to cover the RH blood group. So as you can see, firstly we have discussed about the genetic markers, its classification, all of this is done in that particular video. And then this ABO blood group, and here in this video we are going to cover the RH blood group, and the upcoming videos will cater to HLA, transferring, GM, blood enzymes, etc. And then we'll move to this particular section. All right. So I hope the structure and the videos are clear to you. Now let us start with the RH blood group. So first of all, what is this RH blood group, or you call it as rhesus system? So firstly, as I told you in the previous lecture related to the ABO blood group as well, that firstly you need to know about some of the basic introduction part of it, right? So that introduction is like, this is one of the 35 human blood group system that we know by far. And who discovered this? So this was discovered by the same person who was associated with the ABO blood group. That should be very clear to you. Then we will understand that how and why this blood group is different. Firstly, we have seen in the ABO blood group that the blood contains the antibody and the antigenes, right? So here in this RH blood group system, the antigen that we are concerned about is D antigen. Although there are like other antigens as well that you call D, smaller e, those are all antigens. But just to make our life simpler, and since we are not studying it from the biological perspective, we are mostly concerned with the anthropological part of it. So we'll try to limit ourselves to this much knowledge, that our main concern is antigen capital D. Now, this RH blood group, whosoever the blood or the RBC is having this G antigen, will be categorized as positive, and wherever this D is not present, that will be categorized as negative. So in RH blood group, mostly you have this RH positive or RH negative. And who is RH positive? Whenever there is a capital D. Who is RH negative? Whenever there is absence of capital D. So as you can see in this matrix, when it is say this first quadrant, when you see, it's capital D and smaller d. One capital D is present, which is why it is RH positive. In this quadrant, you have this smaller d. Both the D's are smaller, there is no capital D, which is why it is negative. Then here you have capital D, two capital D. Whatever, even if you have one capital D, it is positive. So here it is 2. It is bound to be positive, right? Then here you have capital D and smaller d. Again, this is your RH positive. So I hope it is very clear to you now that RH blood group is amongst the various blood groups system that is available. Who discovered this? You know that very well. And how do you categorize RH positive and negative? Based upon the presence of the antigen. इतना आपको पता होना चाहिए. This is the same thing which is written over here that I just already explained to you, right? D, C, E, smaller d, these all are antigens that is present in this RH blood factor. 50 अलग अलग तरीके के होते हैं. We need not to go that much deeper into it. Now, population variance क्या है of all of these blood group or the RH blood group that we are speaking about, right? And since I told you like we are studying it from the population from the anthropological perspective, and this is mostly like you can relate with the population genetics as well, so you should know at least something about the variation in the population. Although these are like based upon the different studies that is being done, and it may or may not change in the coming future, or it may not be the same since the beginning of the time, right? बट हम देख लेते हैं आज की डेट में प्रेजेंट स्टेटस क्या हो सकता है. सो मोस्टली जो आपको डी एंटीजेंस हैं ये ज़्यादातर डार्क स्किन पीपल में देखने को मिलेंगे, और कॉकेशियंस में भी मिलते हैं. एशियन में तो यू विल फाइंड 99% ऑफ द एशियंस इज हैविंग दिस डी एंटीजन, which means like most of them are generally Rh positive, which is kind of an good thing if you say. And why I'm saying this is good, that I'll explain you during the implication part of it, right? Then C antigens भी आपको कहाँ कहाँ कितने कितने परसेंटेज में पाए जाते हैं, दैट यू कैन सी. यू नीड नॉट टू रिमेंबर द एग्जैक्ट परसेंटेज, बट यू शुड एटलीस्ट नो कि ओके in Asians mostly you will find the prevalence of the D antigen, which is very very important for the Rh positive. And why Rh positive is being very significant, that we are going to discuss in the implication part. Then similarly E antigen, C antigen, these are like few of the numbers or figures that you just need to see and observe कि किस population में कितने पाए जाते हैं. That's it. Now inheritance of Rh blood group. What do you mean by inheritance of Rh blood group? So as we know, the blood group of a child is dependent upon both the parents, right? And if the parent is having this Rh blood group, so that is also going to have an impact on the children's blood group. So how this is important? Let's understand that in much detail. And to understand this inheritance pattern, we also need to understand one more thing. So let me make that thing very clear to you. So see, I have told you like D antigens, smaller d, and all of these antigens are present there, right? And we are mostly concerned with the capital D. Now let's take another antigen, which is the smaller d, for a better understanding, like when it becomes negative, because we know now कि जब भी capital D होता है then only your RH is positive, other than that it is negative. Now ये जो आपका D होता है यही होने की वजह से पॉजिटिव क्यों होता है, बिकॉज इट इज डोमिनेंट एलील. ओके, ये आपने याद रखना है. एंड दिस स्मॉलर D इज रेसेसिव, विच इज वाई ये अपना इम्पैक्ट उतना नहीं कर सकता है. व्हेन वी से डोमिनेंट, इसको यू कैन कोरिलेट विद अ स्ट्रॉन्ग, एंड व्हेन वी से रेसेसिव, इसको यू कैन कोरिलेट विद वीक. यानी कि D स्ट्रॉन्ग है एंड स्मॉलर D वीक है. अब जब भी कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है तो क्या होता है, somebody who's having very strong opinion, वो क्या करेगा, अपने opinions को कहीं भी किसी के भी ऊपर हावी कर सकता है, राइट? और जो weak opinionated person होगा वो अपनी बात को उतनी अच्छे तरीके से दूसरे के सामने नहीं रख पाएगा, नहीं मनवा पाएगा, राइट? उसी तरीके से D यहाँ पे बात मनवाने वाला है, यानी कि strong opinion वाला है. तो ये जब D allele which is a dominant one, अब इनके होने से क्या होता है, अगर ये दोनों होगा तब तो जाहिर सी बात है that the RH will be positive. अगर ये एक होगा then also RH will be positive, that we have already seen in the matrix. And why it is so? This is because of this reason, that this capital D is dominant. Similarly recessive होने का क्या मतलब है कि वो उतना opinionated नहीं है, उतना strong नहीं है, weak है. और इसके केस में क्या होगा, this one is your RH negative because this is recessive. अब when in terms of inheritance you are talking about, because अभी तक आप जान गए कि कैपिटल D is dominant and smaller d is recessive. अब inheritance के केस में क्या होगा कि inheritance के केस में suppose there is a father and there is a mother. अब father and mother से जब child को मान लो यहाँ से he is getting this capital D but from the mother he is getting smaller d, then this will be RH positive, right? Because ये capital D आ रहा है यहाँ पे, it will reimpose itself. Now suppose in the other case, from the father also the child is getting D, from the mother also child is getting D. In this case the blood group will be DD, which is RH negative. अब चीज़ें क्लियर है कि अगर एक भी कैपिटल D आ रहा है in inheritance pattern, then it will be RH positive. So by far we know like what is this RH blood group system, why it is so, who discovered it, and all of those details, right? Now we need to know what is its significance, why the hell we need to know about this, right? हम इतना इसके बारे में पढ़ क्यों रहे हैं? So सबसे पहली इंपॉर्टेंस जो है दैट कम्स इन दी ब्लड ट्रांसफ्यूजन. आज के डेट में यू नो दिस वेरी वेल कि ब्लड ट्रांसफ्यूजन कितना कॉमन है. यू माइट नीड इट लाइक फॉर मेनी ऑफ द प्रोसीजर्स, एंड विच इज़ वाई इट इज़ बेटर दैट यू नो द RH कंपैटिबिलिटी. दैट इज़ वन थिंग. और इससे क्या होगा अगर हमें कंपैटिबिलिटी नहीं पता होगी, As of now we have discussed कि हमने देख लिया कि D which is the dominant and smaller d which is the recessive, right? अब suppose कि किसी का जो RH blood group है that is having this combination capital D and smaller d, and the person receives the blood transfusion from someone with double D. So this double D and यहाँ पे एक already D present है, so that means this blood sample already recognize this capital D, उसके लिए ये कोई alien नहीं है, right? So that person can accept it very well. So ये double D capital D and smaller d क्या है? This we denote as RH positive. ये भी RH positive ही है, ठीक है? But suppose a person with this blood group is receiving something from this. ये तो RH negative है, ये RH positive है. Now just think for some second and let me know कि क्या ये accept करेगा या नहीं करेगा. Yes, you are right. This will accept. And why this will accept? Because यहाँ पे smaller d भी है, and this blood group recognizes this smaller d as well. तो इसके पास advantage है for capital D का भी smaller d का भी. Now suppose कि कोई blood group ये है which is RH negative, and this receives blood from this which is RH positive. इस केस में ये recognize करेगा या नहीं करेगा? इस केस में ये recognize नहीं करेगा. The reason being कि ये capital D भी इसके साथ आ रहा है which is a dominant one, and dominant one होने के कारण even though ये smaller d ये recognize कर रहा है, लेकिन ये capital D which is a dominant वो recognize नहीं करेगा. इस वजह से ये blood transfusion can be drastically failed, okay, and the person life might get jeopardized. So it is very clear to you as of now कि blood transfusion के case में if a person is having RH positive blood group, they can receive the blood from RH positive as well as negative. लेकिन अगर किसी का RH negative है तो they can only receive it from the RH negative, which is why you can say that RH negative is one of the rare things, right? So that is about the blood transfusion part. Another significance that we need to understand with respect to this RH blood group is the RH incompatibility in the pregnancy. So basically this RH positive and negative, the knowledge is very, very important, because if the person or the lady who's pregnant with suppose let's take an example, a lady is having an RH negative blood group whereas a father is having a RH positive, and eventually the lady got pregnant, and as we know the RH positive contains the capital D along with the another capital D or the smaller d, but since this is dominant, the blood group of the child is going to be the RH positive, right? Because any of the parent should have at least the RH positive, then the child will have a positive, that we already discussed in detail. So now this mother who's having an RH negative, which is already denoted, and the child is having an RH positive. Now this child is the first pregnancy of this lady. So what will happen that during the delivery, when there is an intermixing of the blood, this RH negative blood group will recognize this positive as some alien or an outsider, and because of which this RH negative will produce the antibody, right? So the first child was there in the womb of the mother, and then the child was born. So during the delivery time, there was some kind of an intermixing of the blood, and during that intermixing, the mother's blood realized that this is some alien thing in the blood, and which is why it started producing the antibody. So that antibody remains in the mother's body. Now suppose that lady got pregnant again. Now what will happen? Again the child will be having the RH positive and the mother is already having RH negative, but this time the mother bloodstream also contain the antibodies, which you can see with this. So now what will happen? This antibodies will start attacking this child's Rh positive, thinking it to be a alien thing. And with this attacking, what will happen? The child can become anemic. So that is one of the byproduct of it that you can say, which is what is being explained it over here. So I hope the understanding is very clear now. Now, since we know the significances of it, how you can relate it with the other part of the syllabus. So here you can say, whenever you're talking about the genetic counseling, we have genetic counseling discussion in the application part of anthropology also, and a separate topic in itself. So when you're talking about genetic counseling, you can just mention about this Rh incompatibility also, that we call as the interlinkages amongst the different topic. And with this, we have finished the Rh blood group. In the next video, we are going to discuss about the serum protein polymorphism, under which there are like certain things that we need to study that will be done there. Okay, and thank you so much.